How's it going, everyone? I'm still amped from chapter 13. You can catch mine and Ged's review in the top right corner if you haven't checked that out yet. But I had a few more, lingering thoughts from the episode. I have watched it again, and as well as some speculation for chapters 12 and 13, and for the series in general, just some thoughts and questions. The one thing I've been thinking about is, I loved this episode primarily because of the inclusion of Bo-Katan. Being a Clone Wars Rebels fan, seeing that translation to the live screen was awesome. Bo-Katan is literally the splitting image from the show, which makes that much more exciting. So what I have to say to that is, if you haven't seen Clone Wars or Rebels, and hopefully you have, considering it's some of the best Star Wars there is, but if you haven't, did this episode hit the same way for you? I couldn't imagine not knowing who Bo-Katan is, and you're watching it and you just think it's just some random Mandalorians, it could have been anyone from the first season forever, no one we've ever seen before. So let me know in the comments, if you haven't seen those shows, what did you think of this episode? Is it is it that high on your list like a lot of other people are saying? Let me know. And the other random thing I found kind of curious was, I don't know if anyone saw the leaked episode titles from back in March. So far they have been completely wrong, which I find amusing, and which is why you obviously can't trust every leak and rumor you see. Disney for the most part does a pretty good job keeping stuff under wraps and subverting fans' attention. Let's talk about the Mandalorian directors for a second here too. So chapter 9 was directed by Jon Favreau, making his debut behind the camera for the series. Then we had Peyton Reed in chapter 10, and then we got Bryce Dallas Howard in this past one. And all three, phenomenal work that's been done, especially Bryce Dallas Howard in this last episode, because I know some people felt her episode from season 1 was not, wasn't in the top half of episodes. I enjoyed it. I really thought it gave off that Jurassic Park vibe with the walker, but this episode, absolutely outstanding from her. So just a quick note on that is, this is how you do it right. You have a unified vision from Favreau and Filoni up top, and they give their instructions to the directors, and these directors can come in and be creative and put their own spin on the story. But since you have that unified vision from up top, it's a cohesive story throughout. Unlike the sequel trilogy, where yes, you had different directors, directors were fired, but there was never that unified vision and complete storyline throughout. I could only imagine what The Last Jedi might have been had Rian Johnson actually had a legit script to work on. Think about if you had a clear instruction on why Luke was isolated, on Ahch-To, or if Palpatine was actually coming back, maybe he could have actually planted those seeds in The Last Jedi, which would have made the reveal in The Rise of Skywalker a lot more palatable to fans and understanding if they actually set that precedence, rather than getting it on the opening crawl and okay, he's back, That's neither here nor there. Now let's get into these next two chapters specifically for The Mandalorian. So chapter 12 will be directed by Carl Weathers, and then chapter 13 is written and directed by Dave Filoni. He's on his way to Ahsoka Tano, so you can be guaranteed Filoni is the one who's writing and directing the Ahsoka episode. There's no way he lets someone else touch his baby. So pencil that in right now. Episode 5, chapter 13 will be the Ahsoka episode. The question is what's 12 going to be about? I don't think they're going to pivot and follow Bo-Katan's journey. So I guess Mando's going to have to take... It's going to take him more than one episode to get to Ahsoka's planet is the only thing I could think of. Trailer-wise, the only thing we've been missing are those shots of the TIE fighters taking off and those scout troopers swooping down over the canyon, and him walking back onto Navarro to meet Greef Karga and Cara Dune again. So we don't have those scenes. So When's he going to go back and recruit them? I'm assuming he's recruiting them for a big mission. So all those scenes are probably from the last couple episodes. That's probably shaping up what your finale is going to be. That's going to be your clash with Moff Gideon and his Imperial Remnant. That's my thoughts on that. I think you're guaranteed chapter 5, 13, we're getting Ahsoka. So be prepared for it. You know, really hope they hit this right, and I'm assuming they will, since Dave has his hands all over it, and you know he's going to handle this character with the utmost care, with the fans in mind. Let's talk about another point that I've seen coming up, and there's an episode of Hot Takes, tag up in the corner, where me and Waller discussed, potential concerns for this Mandalorian season. And one of them being, the show is about the Mandalorian, and is there a concern of them jamming way too much stuff in here where it kind of takes away from the Mandalorian, where he kind of becomes a side character? In that video, I was a big proponent of the characters they introduced. They really got to stay limited, because this is the Mando series, and the Mando so far has been very successful. You don't want to take away from him. But I gotta say, after seeing Bo-Katan and obviously Katie Sackhoff on screen, that character for me automatically has become the most interesting thing for me on this show, and her quest for the Darksaber. There's already been a history of that, obviously, through Rebels and Clone Wars, so I feel it's already taken my attention away. Like, I want more of that. Like, Katie Sackhoff just killed every scene she was in and stole it away from Mando. So I want more than that. I don't know. Do we get some... I don't know how they're going to handle that in the future, because I'm assuming lots of fans feel the same way, and maybe they don't want to do that in Mando, but is there a spin-off? And if there is, do you really want to wait a couple of years, whatever it is, to see the conclusion of that story? So there's a good chance that story is going to be woven into this, into the Mandalorian. So it'll be interesting how they handle that. But as of right now, I'm completely happy with the situation. So we'll see where it goes. And let me know what you think. Do you want to see these cameo characters kind of take a step back? Or do you want to go full blown? Let's unleash Bo-Katan, let's unleash Ahsoka, let's just get into it, because regardless of whatever show it is, as long as it's great Star Wars and the fans are happy, I think we're all going to sign up for that any day. And then the other big point coming out of this past episode of Mando is, will he take his helmet off kind of moving forward? So there was a lot of rumors, I'm sure lots of you've seen them, that Pedro Pascal was quite unhappy behind the scenes. It all stemmed around to him wanting to show his face, and them saying, no, that's not what you signed up for, you're under contract. He's playing the James Earl Jones role of Vader, right? And like, a lot of the scenes, there's someone else wearing the armor because it's uncomfortable and whatnot. And just like in the original trilogy, right? Like, David Prowse was Vader, James Earl Jones did the voice, that was your character. They could totally do that with Mando. But now with this new plot element involved, yes, he's brainwashed by a cult, but I think the more he works with Bo-Katan and that group and realizes that they are actually, true Mandalorians from Mandalore, trying to restore Mandalore and save it, get it back from the Empire or the remnants or whatever's going on there. Obviously, we don't know. We haven't really got much on the Purge. Maybe Mando starts believing less in his creed and more of what, like, Bo-Katan and what these other clans and Mandalorians might stand for. So that's what I had for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you like this content, please subscribe.